What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Schoch Factor Podcast, where I, of course, am your host, Stephen Schoch, and today I am joined by a man who needs no introduction. I'm going to give him one anyway, because that's the type of person I am. We are joined by West Virginia University's second baseman, JJ Wetherholt. JJ, how are you doing today?
Doing amazing, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, it's not every day you get to sit down with the number 4 overall prospect for the 2024 draft as named by D1 Baseball, of course, being on the D1 Baseball Network. We go with those rankings, and that's a pretty good ranking to have. So I'm very excited to get to pick your brain a little bit here.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for it.
Now, starting off, we're going to ask the hardest hitting question first. Zoom technology kind of gave me background intel to this, but what does JJ stand for?
It actually stands for John of all things. That's what my grandma used to call me.
No, that's it. Honestly, that's great. I didn't expect it. I saw on Zoom it said Jonathan, and I was like, okay, well, there's the answer.
Right.
But what does JJ stand for? Do you have any hot takes, any hot pressing issues that you can think of top of mind that you stand for, you have a stance on?
Um, I mean, no, nothing crazy, really. I try to be pretty disciplined. That's like the side of me is just, try to do what I'm supposed to do. But realistically, that's really it.
That's a good take to have. Keeping that discipline. I would say my biggest stance is I don't truly believe the unlimited shrimp at Red Lobster is unlimited. So we all stand for different things.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
So JJ, where are you from originally? I know you said West Virginia is not too far from home for you.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Baltimore, but then we moved to Pittsburgh when I was like 6. So the town that I live in is called Mars. But yeah, so it's Mars, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and so being, growing up a little bit in Baltimore, then moving to Pittsburgh, are you a O's fan? Are you a Pirates fan? Or is it just someone completely different?
It's like both. And then yeah, to be honest, it's just I don't really remember going to those games, but like my family living in there for 10 years, we obviously have the Baltimore roots. So I mean, I like them, but I mean, I've went to more Pirates games, so it's kind of evenly matched.
Yeah, and those are two very cool fields to, kind of get to
Yeah.
go to. So you're at least, treated pretty well there. And Mars, Pennsylvania. Now, Mars, PA is for whatever reason a launching pad for college baseball players or just
Yeah.
baseball players in general. Is there something specific about the area that you can attribute to that success, or is it just kind of like one of those things that happens?
Yeah, I mean it's a cool spot. There's kind of like a good mix of like a little countryside, but also I mean it's the suburbs of Pittsburgh, so it's mainly suburbs. But I mean I don't know if it's just we got some good families, good coaches, and there's a lot of emphasis on sports. Honestly, I think the main one's football. Like people here love football, but baseball is just kind of the one where some of the hidden athletes go and they train for a while, and their parents get them into it, and then we just had more and more people going to play college baseball, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I feel like every year there's been at least one person who's like incredibly good from Mars that I learn about. One new person. There's more than one
Yeah,
good person from there. And I'm just like, okay, who else is from there? And it's just a all-star roster. So it's really
right.
cool. But while you were there, growing up, of course, getting into high school and getting into your baseball journey a bit here, everybody in college baseball should know by now you have one of the smoothest lefty swings out there. It's super fun to
Yeah.
watch, produces a lot of power. Was that always the case?
Yeah, I mean, no, I was always like really undersized, honestly. So I was kind of like the leadoff hitting second baseman who would bunt, drag bunt, slap hit, steal. Until I was like I didn't hit my first home run until I was 12. I had like 37 inside the Parkers, but never one over the fence. So yeah, so the power definitely didn't come. It kind of showed a little bit of its way in high school, but it still wasn't crazy. It was really just, freshman year didn't have that much, and then last year it kind of just some of the doubles I hit freshman year I think turned into homers. So kind of just came to be.
Yeah, you had a little bit of juice there. You decided,
Yeah.
let's take the easy route. I am fast, but let's just put it over the fence. It's way
Right.
easier for everybody involved. And the outfielders aren't wasting energy either. So I'm sure a lot of kids in your little league outfielders were probably happy they don't have to run down baseballs and try to
Exactly.
get them in before JJ gets to home plate. Now, I was reading somewhere online that are you a natural lefty or was that something you had to go and learn?
So, I mean, this is all told from my father because obviously I don't really remember, but he says that the first time that I started swinging, it was right-handed. And then my brother, who played before me, he's 4 years older than me. He was a lefty, and being the younger brother, all you want to do is be the older brother. So that's what he says. Is I saw him hitting lefty, and then I started to hit lefty.
No, that's awesome. And I remember I saw a video on TikTok of you hitting golf balls, and you're hitting them right-handed, which
Yeah,
I gotta say, a little bit selfish that you were hitting them so well, because like I have only swung right-handed my whole life. Can't hit a golf ball straight. Can't hit it that far. And you're just over here being a professional swinger on both sides of it. I gotta tip my cap to you. That's insane.
thanks, man. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like I actually can't hit a golf ball lefty, which is like you can put it on the tee and I can try as hard as I can. Like I can't hit it.
How is your golf game? I feel like it's got to be pretty decent.
It's yeah, I mean if I play a bunch, it's pretty solid. It's tough like when we're full go because you don't have a lot of time to golf. So that's when like the short game gets pretty brutal and you're just chunking stuff and three putting every hole. But I mean, for the most part, like it's I play pretty boring golf. I don't really hit the ball that far, surprisingly, because like coming from baseball, everyone thinks baseball players hit it a mile, but I don't. I hit it pretty short. My irons are pretty good. And then it's all about the wedges and putting. If I'm playing a lot, my wedges and putting is okay, but if I'm not playing a lot, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah, and I feel like, with baseball, that translates being a second baseman, reading the infield, reading how the ball's going to break coming to you. That's got to translate at least a little bit to putting.
That's what I'm thinking.
Now, growing up, did you play other sports as well, or was it always baseball for you?
Yeah, so I played pretty much every sport you could think of. I actually quit everything before high school. I played golf in high school my last year, but that was the only other sport. Growing up though, like it was football and baseball. A lot of people thought I was just going to be like a football player. I was randomly really good at football. I was kind of just faster than everyone at that age. So there was two dudes like that played running back that were kind of the guys growing up, and it was me and there was another kid who actually played baseball at UNC Wilmington named Teddy. And so us two, we were always on different teams, and it was always like, oh, what'd Teddy do this week? And then what'd JJ do this week? And I mean, Pop Warner football is a bunch of fun, but I quit before high school and all that stuff, just focus on baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, that's kind of the trap you fall into being fast. You kind of like have to try every
Right,
sport. And it's like, which one am I going to be the best at? And
right.
it always makes me happy when the guys choose baseball because I am a firm believer that fast people have like just this quick twitch muscle no one
Yeah.
else has that like leads to the power that you have. And of course, I know you're putting in work in the weight room, putting in work in the off season, but having that in there, like that ability to adjust on the fly, I feel like so huge.
Yeah, it's definitely a good background to have.
Yeah, and so getting into your high school experience and kind of getting into the recruiting side of things, when did you first commit to West Virginia?
I committed. It was kind of like right at the beginning of my sophomore year. So it was like after my freshman season. I had a pretty good freshman season for high school. Played that summer, and then right around that area of like summer's ending, sophomore year starting. That's when I committed.
Yeah, and so were you considering any schools other than West Virginia, or was it kind of like, okay, this is near my hometown. I really like it's a big name school. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of that. The only other two schools that were really recruiting me was like Pitt and Kent State. But West Virginia was my only offer. So it's kind of just like everything that I was looking for was there, and the offer was good and close to home. So it was just like too good to pass up. So we just went for it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good quality to have, especially in the recruiting process of like taking out the, oh, what if this place is different?
Right.
What if I like this more? It's like, no, I've seen what I like. I
Yeah.
know what I need, and I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah, and I think it saved my parents a ton of money because then we could stop with all the showcase and camps and stuff. So that was a cool part of it too.
Yeah, in my research, I saw you didn't do many showcases or many camps. I didn't either. Did you do any, or was it just none at all?
I did a camp at Kent State and a camp at West Virginia, and then my one fall team that I played for had like a showcase. It partnered with some company that ran some showcases. And then I did one or so Ed Santa showcase, if you know that name. That was literally it. So it was like three or four. Two of them were done solely because I got in for free, so we were just like, why not do it? Then the other two we paid for. They were just college camps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's such a good thing that you are a testament to. You just need to go out and play. Like they will
Yeah,
find you if they are going to find you. And
right.
I'm right there with you. I was never like, okay, I need to get recruited. I'm going to spend, $300 a weekend on camps or however much it is. So I really tip my cap to you and respect you for that. So what was it about West Virginia that appealed so much to you? I know you kind of touched on it on the last piece, but was there anything in particular that really stood out?
It was really like the combination. I mean, I loved the coaching staff. Obviously, that was a huge selling point for me. The facilities were great too. They have my major, I majored in finance, so that was big too. They give out a lot of academic money, so I knew like baseball players we don't get full ride scholarships just for hitting the ball good. So with my academics, like I knew that it would be a good combination where I'd be going to school practically for free. So it was that piece, and then the close to home piece, just so my parents could come watch me. It was just like the stars were just bang, 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 bang. So that's pretty much why.
Yeah, it seems like it kind of happened fast when it happened, but everything was right. So
Right.
just do it.
Yeah.
I love that you just kind of took all the second guessing out of it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So with that being the case and transitioning to the skill level at West Virginia, your freshman year you had decent numbers. Nothing like your sophomore year where you just kind of doubled everything you did except the home runs you tripled, which that was really cool. What was the transition moving from high school baseball to college baseball like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, it was something I took, a lot of thought to. Kind of just like when that last high school games played, it's like, shoot, like now it's college time, and you can get a little bit scared of that. Thankfully, they sent us to a college league actually, in between like our senior year ending in high school, going into our freshman fall. So I played in a summer league called the Prospect League. And there I got, like good experience against some college guys, got to see what it was going to be like. Obviously, it wasn't Big 12-esque pitching, but there were still college pitchers, and they know how to get you out. A guy doesn't have to be throwing 95 to get you out. So that was cool, trying to make that adjustment. And then, showing up to campus, that's obviously another step just because you get to see guys throwing like 97, 98 on a daily basis. And you're just like, good Lord, man, what is going on? I was seeing 84 a year ago. Um, so, so yeah, so that was tough. And for a while, like it was a lot for me. I think, I was doing pretty good. Like, I was satisfied with how it went freshman year, but I knew there was more in there. I think the biggest thing that was just holding me back was just kind of like some of the nerves not being adjusted to playing as much and just kind of like being scared to mess up. So I think that's something that we kind of tried to figure out and then got to figure it out a little bit, just play with some more confidence last year. And that's kind of why I think the numbers got better.
Yeah, and I will say you handled it well. The transition was great. Your very first college at bat, right? We hit a home run.
Yeah.
What were the emotions like leading up to that and after hitting that home run?
Yeah, that was a super special moment. It's honestly a funny story because I didn't tell my parents that I was going to play. So it was in Myrtle Beach, which they would have probably came if I would have been like, like I'm starting, but I didn't really know I was starting. I kind of had the feeling, but you don't know until you see your name in the lineup. So I didn't tell them. They didn't find out until other parents texted them, so that was kind of funny. But on my side, yeah, it was surreal. I remember getting to two strikes in that at bat, and I was like, "Wow, first college at bat, here comes a strikeout." And my legs are shaking, and I'm all nervous. And then took a deep breath. And then next thing you know, I'm running around the bases, fired up, like losing my mind. And then the guys in the dugout and the coaches were obviously super excited. So it was a super cool moment, and I'll definitely never forget that.
Yeah, no. One of my favorite highlights to share are the early February guys getting their first at bats, crushing home runs because
Yeah.
it just sets the tone for the rest of the college career. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
it definitely does.
now here we are talking to you as a draft prospect. Things work out in a certain way for a reason.
Right. Yeah.
Now at West Virginia, are you always going to be a second baseman? Because I've heard talks, I've seen people talking saying, JJ, he's got insane athleticism. You can put him anywhere in the field. Maybe we move him to shortstop. Maybe he stays at second base. What's it look like over there for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer that I can kind of adjust to anywhere, honestly. Even the outfield, I like the outfield too. Outfield's fun. But I played third my freshman year, second last year. Second is the position I played the most over my lifetime. And then this year they don't really like tell you exactly until the day comes. It's looking like I could play shortstop. You never know; stuff might change. If that's the case, we'll have some fun over there. So I'll be excited to face that challenge. But regardless, I'm just trying to get better. So if it's second base, I'm better at second. If it's short, I'm better at short.
Yeah, I feel like with middle infielders, that's like one of the positions where if they know how to play shortstop, they know how to play second base, they can pretty much play anywhere except catcher. That's like
Yeah,
and pitcher. Like that's my general rule of thumb.
yeah,
Pitchers can't play anywhere else. First baseman can probably catch, probably play right field.
right. Yeah, no, I hear you. I wouldn't doubt my catching skills though.
I would believe in you. If there's someone who can do it, it's probably you. I've only played with one catcher who was fast, but he was great back there, honestly. So so I trust it. Now, moving along, of course, you have an insane sophomore year. You're the Big 12 Player of the Year, hitting 449. That propels you to playing for Team USA this summer. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. I mean, you're playing with the best players in college baseball, and you're having a great time, especially the fact that you're playing for your country, which is the coolest part probably. But it was great just playing that high level competition on a daily basis, and then just being with guys with similar dreams and aspirations as you. So you get to kind of learn from everybody there. You get to see that I got to keep working because these guys are working super hard too, and it was just great though. Friendships are awesome. Still talk to the guys today, and it's a super super cool experience.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite things about the way Team USA is run, especially at the college level, is they have the tryout right before. So, like, you get the
Yeah,
invite, and it's like, okay, this is cool. I have a chance. And
yeah,
then it's trying out. So, what was the tryout process like for you? Because I feel like we don't get much insight into that.
yeah. I mean, it was tough for me because I was battling that like hamstring thing, so I couldn't really do much. So for me, it was pretty much I was just getting live at bats. But you play. I think it was like five or so games. You play a bunch. It's like 11 innings back to back to back to back to back. So you're just playing every day. But they'll move you around, see what positions you can play, hit you in different spots in the order, try to get everybody equal at bats, see what the pitcher's got, um, start you a game, maybe relieve you. So I mean, they're really just trying to evaluate who they think is going to give them the best chance to win games, and that's what they're looking for at the end of it. So then after that process, then they kind of make up their minds and tell like if you're gonna play with the teams or if you're not. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's funny how like you get the invite and you can be super excited, but it's like you haven't made it yet, so you might not want to be too excited.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you got 5 days with us. Let's see how it goes.
Right,
You got to go through this little boot camp of what seems like an insane amount of inner squats.
right,
But I think that's just such a cool and unique experience, too, especially because you're around guys who you see all season. It's like, oh, that's one of the best players in the
yeah,
nation. And he might not even make the team just because of the way it falls. So I
right.
really like that about them. And you mentioned, of course, making friendships with the guys over summer. I got to know, who is your favorite Team USA teammate?
And they're like every dude we all got together. There's not a single one that I was like not boys with, but I mean there's two, and it's Seaver King. He was my boy, and then Griff O'Farrell from UVA. Griff's a dog. So those are my two guys for sure.
That's a good group. That's a good group to hang out with, too. I've spoken with all of you now this fall, so I can
Yeah,
attest and confirm good guys. Good guys were
yeah,
just named.
good guys for sure.
Now, what does your off-season routine look like to, kind of maintain shape for the season and get ready, gearing up for the 2024 season?
Yeah, it's really nothing crazy. You don't have like that much time. Honestly, we're kind of always playing. So right now it's like this is the most off I'll be for a while. So I'm taking some time to kind of decompress and be with family, which is much needed. But also it's pretty much just trying to get some swings in. Hopefully every day, but swinging a lot, lifting, sprint work, doing like prehab, rehab, and stuff like that. So I mean, you're still getting your work in. It's nothing crazy, not super complex, but it's the roots. I'm working on feels, working on my swing, working on hands, working on footwork, all that type of stuff. Just trying to stay fresh. So if I played a game tomorrow, I'd be ready.
Yeah, and I have no doubt in that you're probably one of the guys who I would say could get just roll right out of bed and say, "Hey JJ, we need you to go 3 for 4 here," and I feel like you would do it. Now, of course, being at West Virginia, it gets very cold. Is any of your training just going and standing outside, getting ready for those long offensive innings, maybe getting a few claps in, just getting ready for it?
Yeah, so that's actually a good question. I take cold showers pretty frequently, so that's kind of something in the morning. Just try to get used to it and wake yourself up. And then the other thing is we like don't practice inside like ever. So we're just always outside no matter the weather. So even if you don't want to take the time to kind of do that and try to adjust yourself, you're pretty much forced to because we're outside for 4 hours when it's 33 degrees, whatever the temperature is. So that's kind of a good prep, but I'm not sure how much prep you can do for standing still in the infield for 20 minutes during a long inning and it's 25 degrees and snow and it gets tough, man, but you just got to try to find ways to be warm and play through it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons as a pitcher I would never get upset like when an infielder would make an error or something during a long inning because I would understand that's my fault because I let them get cold out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And
no, I
so
feel you, man.
I'm not saying that's something that's going to happen. You are ready for it because you take the cold showers. You live for the cold. I'm just saying, as someone who did not play in many cold environments, that's what happened. That's my fault.
Yeah.
So
It's
if if you are a pitcher listening to this and you're like, man, why is my team making errors? Stop walking the house and you're good.
Yeah, he's probably got cold hands, man. It gets cold out there.
Yeah, it's freezing. So now, of course, moving into the 2024 draft and kind of looking ahead towards that, is that something you even give thought to, or are you more one of the players where it's just like, I'm going to play my game. I don't care about who's projecting me where. And of course, I know I work with D1 baseball. I won't get offended if you say it's not important to you because, again, you're the guy, you're the man in the mirror. You're the one doing the thing.
Yeah, no. So I mean, like, if we're going off importance, it's definitely not important because I mean, for me at least, it's never really meant anything, and to me, it just doesn't mean much. I mean, it might if you look at it like it's cool if you want to give it that thought, but that's kind of all I try to keep it as is, like it's cool, it's great that people like how I play and that stuff. It brings recognition to the university. It's cool like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like their projections, you can't just invest yourself into that because if you don't compete and you don't play well those projections can just go like that. So for me, it's really just if I see that type of stuff, it's look at it and just try to swipe off of it and get back to work. Just trying to kind of ignore it and just see what happens. But the most important thing right now is just trying to prep for the college season and trying to win some games for our team.
Absolutely. See, I was never in a position where I was like, was I in the top 10 for draft rankings this week? So I never had to worry about that. So I wanted to get a question in and see what it was like to be in
Right.
that position. Now, do you have a favorite memory playing at West Virginia?
It's so there's two. Like the first one is obviously the like home run. I mean that wasn't at home, but that's like my college highlight is hitting a home run your first at bat. It's kind of hard to beat that. Um, and then like at the stadium, so I had a thumb injury last year that I was out for a couple games with, and we were playing TCU. I think it was the Sunday game. And I had not played, but I had been cleared to like maybe play. So we were seeing what was going to happen, and a coach came down, sent somebody down, was like, get JJ ready. And I was like, oh, here we go, let's go. I get to hit. It was a good crowd. We were going for the sweep, And then, I get up there and I'm like ready. I'm like, is this really happening? Like, I don't even know. My thumb hurts. Like, am I supposed to hit right now? What's going on? And then the same dude who told me I was hitting was like, all right, you're done. I was like, okay, whatever. So I started taking my stuff off. And then he comes back down. He goes, nope, never mind, you're hitting. I was like, okay. So I'm hitting. So I got real ready to go. Popped in the on deck circle. I think the fans like started seeing that it was me, and they're like, oh, like freaking out. And then it was my turn. I think they gave me like a standing ovation before I even went to hit. So it got really loud right before I went to hit. Ended up hitting a bases clearing double, I think. And then it got like super loud. So that was a really cool moment. And it was kind of just like all that playing with Play-Doh and spider webs rehab that I was doing, man. It got me back on the field, and here I am again. So it was
No, that's an awesome experience. I was always jealous, like pitching at the college level is very fun, but I truly don't think there is a cooler thing to do than getting a big hit in front of a
yeah,
home crowd. So I can't imagine all the emotions, especially building up with the rehab you
right,
mentioned, all the different, things that might seem silly in the moment, building you to that moment.
right.
And last year, I got to ask you one question about this gentleman because I was just awestruck by him. Of course, we're talking about Blaine Traxel. What was that kid like?
I mean, he's a great dude. Like he's number one, he's hilarious. And he's like the kind of dude that you're talking about. Like I got trust in that guy to just get him out. I could probably go to his house right now, knock on his door, be like, hey man, we need 6 innings at least, and he'll probably throw a CG. Um, but yeah, no, he was great, dude. His arm was rubber, just didn't care, how it felt. He was just trying to help the team win. So he's a team dude and just going out there and having fun. He was a baller and huge piece of our team last year. Stinks that he's gone, but yeah, he was a great dude.
Yeah, and I gotta wonder how long did it take the bullpen guys to realize that on Friday nights they probably just were like, let's just hang out in the dugout because Blaine's gonna start, relieve, and close this one from 6 different arm slots.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was pretty right away. Honestly, probably like the second or third week. I think I forget when he threw his first CG, but it was early, and we were like, dang, bullpen gets a day off, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, CGs in college baseball are very rare. I only had a teammate throw one time, and it was really cool. It was electric, but he was just going out there every other weekend doing it, and it was so cool to watch.
Right? Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, JJ, I got one last question for you before I let you go. Of course, with it being the holiday season, I got to know, do you have any favorite holiday movies, favorite holiday traditions, anything of that nature?
Yeah, we watched the Christmas Story. I think that's what it's called. The one where the dude gets like the Red Ryder BB gun. You know what I'm talking about? I
Yeah,
think
and they get the fragile lamp.
yes, that one. We've watched that movie so much. I think it's gotten to the point where we don't actually play it anymore, but it's somehow always on a channel somewhere that we find. So that's one that gets watched constantly, and it's gotten to a point where I'm kind of on my phone for most of it now because I've seen it too many times. It doesn't get as many laughs, but that's probably the main thing that we do.
Yeah, and I mean that's an instant classic. Plus, with the sitting on the phone while watching it, I feel like I do that all the time because I don't want to waste time watching a movie that I might not like. So I
Yeah,
rewatch a lot of movies. But when I'm on my phone, I hear the words from the screen and I kind of play it in my head. I
yeah,
think,
you can judge it and see if you like it, and like what's going on.
yeah, and it's just always different. There's always, and if I do it in my head, if I do the pictures myself, I can make edits on the fly, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Well, JJ, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sitting down and sharing a little bit of insight into, how you got to where you're at now and where you're going to go from here. So thank you so much for joining the podcast, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.